talks about, like extracting recipes and business cards and products and articles automatically. And when I jump over to the demo in a minute or two, I'm going to show you a page that we have which actually shows a ton of our partners and integrations. So I'm not going to spend time going through all of them here, but you can check out the site yourself, and you can do things like, you know, all of a sudden you'll start seeing a OneNote logo on your scanner, for example, because we did a bunch of integrations with people like Brother and Epson, and a whole bunch of interesting things like that. So this is what I just mentioned. If you want to go to onenote.com/apps, you'll see a whole smorgasbord of all of our partners there, everyone from Doxy and Chegg and Neat and Brother and Epson and Feedly. There's just a whole host of them. And there's a couple that we've even done internally on the OneNote team using our own API, and I'm going to show a couple of those as kind of showcase scenarios. So with all that said, this is the portion of the show where I'm going to jump into the demo and show you the product and some of the scenarios and things you can do with it. So let me just share my computer here. And hopefully everybody can see things. So the first thing I wanted to show off was our onenote.com/apps page. So this is that site that I just showed. You can go here, and it gives you a list of all the things you could possibly do. And there's a ton of stuff. One of the ones I wanted to show you'll see here is called a OneNote Clipper. This is something that I personally worked on, so it's near and dear to my heart. But it also is a first-party experience that we built using our API. And if you just go to onenote.com/clipper, the address is right up here, it'll send you to this web page, and this page is basically the place you can install the Clipper. And the OneNote Clipper is just a little tool for your browser, and it works in any browser. So Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, anything you're using. And what it does is, in Chrome, for example, it's an extension. So it adds a little button up here. You'll see the OneNote logo. And what I can do, for example, is take content from a website and get it into OneNote super fast and easy. So example for this, I was doing some, I was trying to put my fundraising or my nonprofit hat on to do some scenarios that might resonate with you all. And here you'll see that I have top fundraising ideas for a gala event. And you'll see this, like many web pages today, there's a lot of content on here. This is all great stuff that I want. But there's a lot of kind of, quite frankly, junk on the page too that I don't really need in my OneNote. Now I could copy and paste it, but sometimes that's a little clunky. So what I can do is just click the OneNote Clipper, and what you'll see it does is it loads a preview, and it gives you, it pops up right here, the purple piece, and it gives a preview of a bunch of stuff. So you'll see it has different modes, we call it. So you can say I want the full page, and it's going to save everything you see. I can say I just want a region, and it says drag and release, so I can say, oh, I just want this picture actually. Or I can say I want the article. The article is the cool one to me because what it does is it cleans up the page. It gets rid of ads, it gets rid of the extra stuff. So you can see I just have the critical information I want here, and that's all that will be sent to my OneNote. And from there, all I have to do is pick a place in my OneNote where I want it to go. And so I can actually go to my Contasso, my nonprofit corp notebook here, and I can say I actually want to put it in my fundraising section. And from there, I just hit the clip button, and it'll save it off into OneNote, and I don't have to do another thing, which is really nice because I didn't even have to leave my browser. So I can keep researching, keep moving on, and just know that it's safe and sound in OneNote. So that's the OneNote Clipper. You can get that for free at onenote.com/clipper. So I also wanted to get, that gets a little far ahead there. It's a tool that you can install right off the bat. But I am now showing you the OneNote app. And I wanted to show this and first start out with a brief explanation of how it's actually structured, how the actual user interface and the look and feel of it helps you stay sane in a world with tons of information. So like I said earlier, we are built around a metaphor of a physical notebook. The way that works is you'll see this drop down over here on the left. This is your notebooks view. And so what you can do is you can click this, and you're actually seeing right here all the notebooks that I have. These are my personal notebooks, my work notebooks. You can mix both together because you can sign in with multiple accounts in OneNote. You can also keep them separate if you'd like to. I like to have everything available all the time because I think I work best that way. But in this view, you see all the notebooks that you have. And so, for example, your team at work may just create a single notebook for the entire workplace team. And so that's what I did here. That's what this Contasso notebook is. And within this notebook lives my entire world of information for work. And so I've tried to set up some what I call sections. These are the next kind of level of hierarchy in OneNote. And think of sections just if you had a physical notebook sitting on your desk, the sections are like those tabs that we all had in our physical notebooks. It just helps you delineate different pieces of the notebook to help you even organize a bit more. And so what I have here is examples of different sections you could set up. These are completely customizable. I just literally typed these myself and made them. But I have ones, for example, like meeting notes. I have event planning, fundraising, project metrics, and then a couple projects with some other teams and corporations. So that's sections. These are those tabs at the top. And then the last hierarchy bit is called pages. So within a section, so I'm in the meeting notes section, for example, I have pages on the right-hand side here. And these pages are simply a single piece of information. So I may have in my meeting notes section, as you see here, weekly team syncs. And so every week, I can just click the Add Page button. It creates a blank page, and I can start typing, today's date and be off my way on my notes. So that is a very high-level explanation of, again, just to recap, notebooks, sections, and then pages. So that's how OneNote helps you stay organized a bit. So it helps you jump between worlds because I can now jump, I have a weekly brunch group that I always go out with. We put little, restaurants to check out. I can jump there, and now I'm in that world. And it helps me organize because I'm no longer, for example, if you compare this to email, everything's just flying in all the time. And you either have to, kind of manually click and drag things into folders, or you have to search for it, and it's all just one inbox. It's a big mess. OneNote is helping you stay structured a bit. So for meeting notes, I wanted to, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to clarify because we have folks asking questions on the back end, whether you're in a web app version or an installed instance on your computer, or if you're using Office 365 and if you had to be logged into Office 365. Does it look the same in these different apps, whether you're at OneNote.com or Office 365, or whether you have it installed as part of your Office suite or as a standalone product?
Sure. So I am using OneNote 2016. This is the latest and greatest version. It's in a preview now. It changes some things, but if you're using 2015, it visually will look fairly similar. And that version is released now. This is on Windows right now, and I'm running Windows 10. However, we have, like I said earlier, an app on every platform almost. So the look and feel for those, we try to kind of make look and feel similar enough that you could use them on different platforms and not be confused. But obviously, they'll look and feel a little bit like that platform, right? So if you're using it on your iPhone, it's going to look and feel like an iPhone app. Or if you're using it on a Mac, it's going to have a more familiar Mac interface. But the general, for example, the heading up here with the ribbon, all those tools will be very similar in similar locations. And then if you're using our web app, that version is accessible in any browser. That one is a little bit more slimmed down in terms of the user interface and features, but it's actually very full-featured for a web app these days. And that's good in the kind of last resort cases where maybe you're at a machine and there's nothing installed on it. You can just go to OneNote.com. If I actually jump to my browser here and show you, if you go to OneNote.com, oops, sorry about that, you'll see right up here, you actually get the ability to sign in. And once you're signed in, you can access your notebooks right through the browser and use our web app. So just to clarify, today I am showing you in the Windows client OneNote 2016.
And we know most of you won't have that yet because it's not actually, aside from the preview version, it's not publicly available through like our donation program yet, but it will be coming soon. But he's showing it on what he has on his machine. It will look similar on a lot of other machines and different versions. If you're running 2013 Office right now and it's part of your Office Pro suite or Office Standard suite, it does look pretty similar. And that's what we use here at TechSoup is the Office 2013 because we don't have 2016 yet either, or Windows 10 yet. So it's a common scenario, but it does look very similar. And one person just asked if you can show the clip that was just saved, what it actually looks like in your notes before you move on to the next thing. That would be great.
Sure. There it is. So one of the things that's really cool about that, when you do the article mode, so you see it saved it in my Contasso notebook under the fundraising section, and then it created a new page for that in there with the title of the web page. So it just did that automatically for me. It adds the date that it did it and the time. And then you'll see one of the things that's really cool about it is it inserts that content just as real text. And so, for example, then if I want to, copy and paste it from here into an email, or I want to, actually type and edit in here and say, this is great, whatever I want to do, it's all editable. And then at the bottom of the page, we always give you a link back to where it actually came from. So if you ever want to get back to the original article for whatever reason, you can do that as well. So for meeting notes, I know meeting notes is a big scenario in almost any industry. We're all taking notes in meetings. And I wanted to quickly show what you can do in the power of OneNote. I think there's many ways to take meeting notes. We all have our own way we like to do it. One of the things that I like to show, and I think it's probably one of the most powerful features of OneNote, is the ability to have Outlook meeting note integration. And so if you happen to be using Outlook for your email, as many folks do, what we do in OneNote is you'll notice up here in the ribbon, there's this button that says Meeting Details. And so what I can actually do is click this, and it's going to show a list of all of my meetings for the day. And so I can actually click on a meeting. So I have this weekly team sync, and I'm going to create a new page before I do that. So let's say I'm about to go to this meeting. I click a new page. I want to take notes. I click on the meeting that I'm about to run into, and what you'll see that it does is it actually adds a bunch of information directly from the Outlook meeting invite. And so, for example, it already titled the page with the title of the meeting. It adds a list of all the participants who are in the meeting invite. And then it actually will let me, as I'm in the meeting, click these as checkboxes to say, oh, this person actually was in attendance at the meeting, and these folks were not. And then additionally, it gives a link to the Outlook item. It tells you the location and the date. And then it gives you a section down here to actually start taking notes. So if I'm in the meeting, I can say, make decision on big task, whatever we want to say. And so that's a very fast and effective way to take great meeting notes. Trust me, I've used this before. You send it out and people think you just look so organized and so on top of things. And then even better is you can actually email this page. So you can click the button right next to it. I'm going to avoid that because I purposely shut down my email so it wouldn't pop up on this. But what it would do is it would automatically launch Outlook with a new email. It'll put all the folks, all the meeting notes in there for you, and then you can easily send that out to whoever you want to send it to. So that's a really powerful, easy way to take great meeting notes. And so many times we have meetings where you're trying to come up with action items or summaries after the meeting. I never do that anymore. By the time I'm walking out of a meeting room, I have already emailed all the folks in the meeting room with the summary and the next steps and the action items, and it just saves a ton of time and hassle. So that's meeting notes. One of the things I also wanted to show was event planning scenarios. So this is something you all might be doing. Let's say you have a gala or something for a fundraising. So I tried to put together maybe what an event planning section could look like. So you can imagine creating that section and then having pages in there around, let's say, the venue or the invitation, the menu, the auction, raffle, music, some tips and tricks on how to do even better galas. And then what you'll see is OneNote has this concept. This white area you see in here is called our canvas. And you can literally type and write anywhere on this canvas. So it's very different than most Office apps, let's say Excel, where you're in a structured grid, or Word, where you're kind of bound by margins. OneNote has an infinite canvas that you can do anything on almost. And what that means is you can type anywhere. So I can click, let's say, over here, and I can type here. I could also type up here, right, and just add something. And you'll see it creates these little boxes of content. And once I've done that, I can move that content anywhere I'd like. And so, for example, I have this to-do list here that I created, which just adds some text and content. But I actually use what we call tags, which is another very powerful feature in OneNote that lets you kind of categorize information. And so tags, for example, we have a to-do tag. So I could add a new line here, and it's going to automatically create a new box, and I can check these off and interact with them as I want. I can star things, let's say if it's an important thing, or if I have a question on this one to get the RSVP date, I can add a question mark. And we have a whole list of these, ideas, passwords, criticals, projects, things, movies to see, you name it. And you can even create your own custom tags. That's a super powerful feature. And so I have an example here of just the canvas and the types of content you can put on it. You see there's lots of images that you can put in. I've just copy and pasted these from the internet. You could also have used the OneNote clipper like I showed before and selected a region. And then also I wanted to show in this example here, this is the invitation page. I got this design back, and this is what the designer helped us put together for the invitation. And what I was able to do here is go up to the ribbon, and select our Draw tab. OneNote is actually a very sophisticated inking tool. And so what you can do here is you can do a ton of different ways to highlight content, to actually annotate and ink. If you have a tablet and a pen, you can certainly take advantage of that. Since I'm on the computer here, I just did it with my mouse, which also works. Or if you have a touch screen as well, you can use your finger. But in this instance, I just wanted to call out that we need to change the address, so I just selected the pen here. I circled around it like that, and then I just typed over here. I switched back to the typing mode, and I just typed an updated address. And again, I can move this anywhere I want because OneNote's super flexible with its canvas, and it just lets me put content where I want. I'm not ever fighting with OneNote. That's the one thing I really do like about the product. So that's a good example of inking. We also have highlighting if you want to highlight things to show off, and you can mess around with all that. The other thing I wanted to show off was the ability to add any type of content into OneNote. And this is a big piece of it. So our canvas lets you actually add not just typed text and images, but you can put documents on there. So I had an example that I was going to show you of, if I can do this without messing things up, inserting a file attachment. So you can go to the Insert tab and click File Attachment, and I can actually just go to my desktop and select a PDF, for example. And I can get an option here to insert it as a couple different ways. So I can attach the file, or I can do an inserted printout. A printout will actually show the entire document right on the canvas. Sometimes I like to attach a file like this, and then it just puts the PDF right on the page. I can double click and open it at any time I want. And this works with tons of different files, all the Office files. So if you have an Excel file, I had a fundraising, a project metrics example over here with a team budget. So I put both the attachment of the Excel file and a printout so I can see all of the actual information right on the page. So that's inserting attachments, and that works with lots of different file types. One other thing I wanted to point out is we have our powerful search, which I mentioned before. So that search will let you do a bunch of things and pull up any content you want. So if I wanted to search Gala, you'll see it popped it right up to the top. Here's that page that I just clipped at the beginning of the webinar from the clipper itself. I click that, and it jumps me right to that page. So you notice our search was super fast. It pulled up the exact thing I searched for, and it, we just added this a few minutes ago, and it's already indexed in the app and findable. There's also some other interesting features. Because of the way the webinar is set up, I don't want to try it, but I will point it out to you. It's called recording. So you can record audio or video in your OneNote. And the audio is extremely interesting. So if you record audio with a microphone, let's say, while you're taking notes in a meeting, OneNote will actually sync up the text that you're writing with the audio that you're taking. So for example, a lot of times we're in a spoken meeting like this, and there's a lot being said, and you might want to just take down short notes, not write everything verbatim. So if you write a very cryptic note sometimes, you might look at it 2 weeks later and say, what the heck was that in reference to? OneNote, if you happen to be recording audio at the same time, will jump the audio to that exact moment you took that cryptic note. So you can hear the context of the conversation that happened while you took that cryptic note. It's extremely powerful. People use it in lectures and in talking series all the time. It's extremely powerful. So jumping back here to the metrics, or sorry, to the event planning, you can see here I put a printout of a menu, and then I even clipped a tips and tricks article that I saw from the New York Times on how to do a better gala here. It puts the article at the bottom there so I can get back to it. And so that's some of the other features that we have. I also wanted to show we have review section. This is an important feature. Sometimes people like to be able to translate things, so we have a translate feature. So you can actually do all your spell checks, read thesauruses, translation. But one thing that's interesting is password protection. So you can password protect a section. So let's say you have some kind of private information in a team notebook. Maybe it's just for manager situation, or it's sensitive information of some sort. You can actually password protect that. And so only the folks that you give the password to will be able to access it. And I know I only have a couple more minutes here, so I wanted to be able to show you some of the ways that you can actually collaborate and share information out. So once you've set up a notebook like this, you can actually just click on the File section up here. And what this does is it sends you into a familiar backstage, as we call it, which all the Office apps have. And if you click Share, you will actually be taken to a bunch of different options to share your notebook with your coworkers or your colleagues or your friends or family. And so right now it's telling me which notebook that is about to be shared. It's showing the location of that. So in this instance, I've saved it to my personal OneDrive, but you may use Office 365 and have a team OneDrive. With sharing with people, you can literally just type the email addresses of all those folks. You can set the permission, so you can say, I want these people to be able to edit or just view the notebook, so they can't actually change any of the content. You can obviously include a little note with that, and then hit share, and it will actually send an email to all the folks that you put up there and give them a link to do that. If you want to create a more shareable notebook, you're not exactly sure who needs access, for example, you can click this. It will give you either a view or create link, and you could just, for example, put that on a wiki page of some sort or a email, if you're not exactly sure all the folks that need it. And so that's ways that you can share your notebook in OneNote. And back here, just to wrap up, I think I'm almost out of time, you can do all sorts of other things like create a new notebook, for example, open existing notebooks, print your notebooks, export them. So we export things as you can export just a page, a section, or a notebook, so you don't have to feel bound by sharing everything all the time. And then you can also do your account options back here, which are very similar to all the Office apps. So nothing really interesting or special there for OneNote. So I want to hand it back over because I think I'm just about out of time. But hopefully this gave you a good introduction to OneNote. There's a lot to it, and that's almost by design. You know, note-taking is a very open space. You can do lots of different types of notes, lots of different activities. But OneNote really does a lot of things well for a lot of different people. So I really encourage you to give it a try. I think Becky will mention all the different ways you can go get it. But just to recap, there's OneNote.com. There's the OneNote.com/apps if you want to try out the things for other platforms. And with that, I'll hand it back over.
Thank you so much for that, Ian. I know that was a whirlwind, so don't worry, folks. You're getting the video of this as well later, and you'll be able to review any parts that went too quickly and watch it over again for any pieces you want more details on. Before we get into Q&A, which we'll start in just a moment, I wanted to go ahead and mention the different ways you can access OneNote if you don't have it already. You may have it already as part of an installed Office suite if you're running Office Standard or Professional Plus that you may have received through TechSoup. If you don't have it and you'd like that, we have the 2013 version available, and 2016 version is coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. And the donated licenses of installed Office software come with software assurance, which allows you to upgrade for no additional cost within 2 years of receiving that donation. So these links are active in the PowerPoint deck, even though you can't click on them on screen right now. So if you're looking for Office licenses for the installed application, you can get those here. You can also get OneNote as a standalone product. Maybe you have a different version of Office Suite on your desktop and it didn't come with OneNote and you'd like to just try it out as an installed item. You can do that with a $6 admin fee through Microsoft's donation program with us. It also comes with software assurance that allows you to upgrade that product within 2 years of receiving that donation. If you are interested in Office 365 as a donation, you can get that, and it includes OneNote as well. And then as Ian mentioned, you can get the free version through OneNote.com. So a variety of ways to access OneNote. If you're not sure and you don't have it already installed and you want to try it out, go forth and do that at OneNote.com. That may be the easiest way for you to just try it out, play around with it, see how it works for you. Lots of different ways to get it. And we want to make it available to you because we see that it is a powerful tool that you can do a lot with and can help your organization keep notes from being piled up on your desk on Post-its and help you share and collaborate and brainstorm and collect all of that in an organized way. We use it here at TechSoup an awful lot, and it's a great tool that I think is frequently overlooked because people just don't realize what it can do. So there is some additional resources. Again, these will be clickable in the PowerPoint that you get if you received it via email in that last reminder email an hour before we started it. These resources are clickable there and you'll get them also. We included an article about Windows 10 since we know that is available now and coming through the Volume Licensing Service Center this weekend. So we're excited to have that available. So if you want to be using it with Windows 10 like Ian was today, we included that article as well. So on to Q&A. We've got a lot of questions in the queue and we've been working our way through them for a while. Ian, can you tell us a little bit about when you had to log in to sync things up. If, for example, you're running OneNote on your desktop as part of an